Everybody, it's your boy Jay Rance. It's been a minute since I've done any new tutorials. So kind of give everybody an update. What I've been working on for the last few weeks here. I started taking piano lessons, but I've also been spending a lot of time just working with samples and that kind of thing on the Native Instruments Maschine. So I've got my machine right here in front of me, and I'll hold it up to the camera. Love it. It's been nothing but good. When I first got it, I was using it mostly as a drum machine, and was probably cheating myself just a little bit. Probably could have, should have started working on creating my own drum samples and chopping up loops and, really taking advantage of the sampler, because that's why I bought it to start off with. I was starting to feel kind of restricted over here on the motif, and the sound you heard was actually the motif triggering some sounds inside Maschine. So there you go. Had to switch my pads out. But anyway, so the idea is I was one of the main reasons why I wanted to go with the Maschine instead of trying to sample into the motif was that it's just really a pain trying to manage your samples inside the motif. As far as doing chops or in the motif's terminology, kind of slicing, it was just really tough because you were kind of restricted. You couldn't necessarily go in and make your own chop points in a loop the way you can on a machine or even the MPC. So I was feeling, like there was just too much math involved in chopping up a sample and assigning it to the keys so that each different key would, play a different chop or whatever. Did it on a few little tracks that I goofed around with, but eventually I just kind of let those tracks go. They were mostly projects anyway. But then the other thing was I really wanted a place where I could just kind of collect sounds, because sampling into the motif is also kind of a tricky situation as well, especially on the XS. On the XF, it's a little bit different, but I do use flash memory, so USB. But I got frustrated constantly trying to upload those sounds in order to work on projects. I wanted to be able to just come into this machine, start working, and then bam, I'm done. So that's kind of where I made the decision to invest in the Native Instruments Maschine, and so far so good. So kind of give you again an update on where I'm at. This is my fourth or fifth week working with Paul Gentilini at Danby Music in Charlotte, North Carolina. And what I worked on this past week was I worked on some scales with him, as well as third inversions. So as far as my the chords and everything, he's got me doing some of the basic chords and working on the different inversions, and that totally changes the sound of your chords. So if you're interested in getting your hands on some keys and you really want to know where to go next, start with your first inversion and expand it out to your third, fourth, and so on. So for right now, that's kind of where I'm at, third inversion. I would kind of demonstrate where I'm at on the third inversions, but to be honest with you, I haven't had a chance to really practice the way I want to. So just kind of look out for that. In the meantime, I do want to, show you all some things I've been working on on the machine. What I'm gonna actually do, I was a friend of mine, my main man Dave, homeboy from college. He sent me 3 suggestions on a track that I should sample, and so I went through the different suggestions that he made, and I finally decided on one. The funny part about the sample, though, was that it was actually something that I want to say RZA actually worked this sample a couple years ago. Did a track. I can't remember who all was on it. I think Method Man might have been on it, and that whole Wu-Tang crew. So the sample. When my boy sent it to me, he didn't give me the background, but one of my coworkers mentioned it to me when I told him what sample I was using. And so when he told me, I made it a point. I said, you know what? I'm not gonna listen to the joint that RZA did. I'm just gonna do my own thing, and then I'll listen to the RZA's sample and see where it went. So the sample was from Baby Huey, and I want to say the track was called Hard Times. And let me see, I think I got it keyed up here already, and I'll let you kind of hear the original. I believe I've got it on one of these pads, so we'll check it out. All right, so that kind of gives you an idea. I think that's me. I think I pitched it up right there. So yeah, anyway, actually I think I didn't pitch that up. I think what's happening is the pad mode that I'm in, Maschine is playing tricks on me. So now let's, there we go. All right, so you probably heard it. Real hardcore hip hop heads will definitely recognize what RZA did with that. So what I did, basically chopped it up. Now this is the completed version of the track, so don't hold that against me. I didn't have the camera up and running when I decided to actually put this down about a month or two ago, maybe a month ago. And I'll give you all a screenshot of this too, so that way, maybe at the tail end of the video, so you can kind of see how I set my chops up and that kind of thing, because I do want to talk about that. Been watching a lot of videos lately on chopping and sampling and that kind of thing, and what I've been noticing is that nobody is really, kind of giving you the framework for how you manage your chops. So I'll do a little bonus piece at the end of this video, or maybe it'll just be another video just immediately after this one, where I'll talk about the strategy I use for the pads. And I'm not going to front, I took pieces of it from some other videos that I had seen online, and but I want to explain it because maybe my explanation is something that you can process, and maybe somebody else's explanation makes more sense. Who knows? But at least you'll have it from different perspectives, and hopefully nobody will be upset that I've either rehashed something or showing a technique or a strategy that's already out there. So anyway, so basically what I ended up doing, I chopped up my track a little bit, and these are my basic chops right here. So anybody who's heard the RZA track, that's the sound. Okay, so that kind of gives it away just a little bit, but that's primarily what RZA carried throughout most of his production. But then I took it a little bit further. I chopped up some other pieces. So okay, so that kind of gives you an idea, and I'll kind of give you a bit of a preview. The way I chopped it: downbeat, kick or clap, downbeat, kick or clap. So basically, I treated my 16 pads like the count in the step sequencer. So this is measure 1, measure 2, measure 3, measure 4. Actually, beat 1, beat 2. Yeah, measures by measures. It really depends on how you chopped up the sample. That's what it comes down to. But this is the 1, this is the 2, this is the 3, that's the 4. All right, so keep that in mind. So in this whole entire row, are you going to hear claps or kicks? In this row, same thing. Okay, so keep that in mind if you're wanting to make more intricate chops, or if you want to be able to kind of play your chops like they're drums. Now, you might have some issues when it comes to managing the pitch and that kind of thing, but once you lock your time signature, your pitch and all that good stuff, you should be able to pull that off. And there's a little feature in the machine that I'll show you all later on that makes this process a little bit easier. So in the meantime, enjoy. This is what I did with this particular track. So let me back it up a little bit, hit the beginning, restart. So I hope you all like what I did with that. I'm probably gonna get some comments and some feedback on the fact that I didn't leave any room for vocals for a vocalist, whether it's a rapper, a singer, whatever. So here's my school of thought on that. Here's my train of thought. I was talking to one of my homeboys who actually went to a production school somewhere out in Phoenix. I don't know the exact name of it, but he's been around the industry for a while. DJs professionally out in the Midwest, and the attitude, the reason why I didn't really worry about creating an arrangement or a space for someone to drop vocals is when you're trying to pitch your beat, it's kind of like how a fashion designer looks at a fashion show. They're not going to put their materials out there. They're going to just be directly on the store shelves. They're going to go over the top. They're going to be outrageous. They want you to see just how far their imagination can go, and then they can always scale it back later. So I'm not saying that particular philosophy is the best approach, but when you're really only working with a few seconds to impress somebody and to show them your skill set and how far you can expand your music or your creativity, you don't have a lot of time, and so you do everything you can in that short window of time to put your work out there, and then you can always come back and scale it back later. And we had that conversation, and actually we were both in agreement on that. So keep that in mind. I would never drop something with that much that many chops and vocals interfering with the flow of the MC or the rapper or whomever. But the idea is I only got 10-15 seconds to impress somebody and to demonstrate the skill set as far as how I chopped it, how I rearranged it. And I'm also competing with 1,000 other cats out there who also have worked that same sample. So you got to keep that in mind. Like, how can you take things to the next level and separate yourself? You can always come back and scale back later. Treat your beats the same way a fashion designer treats the runway. They'll make these big giant hats and these crazy looking outfits, but you'll never see those things on a store shelf. It's like a concept car. You see all the great bells and whistles. Oh man, they're bringing out a new McLaren. It's going to be off the chain, but none of that stuff ever makes it to production. It never makes it to the showroom floor. It only stays in somebody's imagination, and it never hits the general public. But pieces of it might make its way into the public sector. So keep that in mind when you're crafting your music and when you're thinking about interesting sounds. Don't limit yourself just because you want to make it work for a performer. Think about just your own creativity, exercise that, and also know that you can always go back and take stuff out if you need to. I hope that little bit of wisdom was enough to inspire somebody to do great and wonderful things. Thank you for watching. I'm going to also kind of show, the next video, a few little tips and approaches to managing your chops. And I look forward to doing that and getting some good feedback, y'all. So it's been a minute. Jay Rants. Please subscribe, follow me, do whatever you do to keep tabs on me. I'm gonna continue to support other other producers, rappers, and anybody who's driven to create. I'm gonna continue to request you as friends and subscribe, and I hope that the same is returned to me. And maybe one day we'll cross paths, we'll work on some stuff together, who knows. But let's just continue to lift as we climb, and I'll catch y'all on the next go around. Deuces. All right, that was kind of corny. Maybe not deuces, but y'all be easy. All right.